My dudes. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine. I'm gonna switch over real quick. Let's go. It's a remote stream. Hopefully the video and everything is good. We're gonna let a few people get in here and we are gonna get into this. And it's gonna be a good one. It is going to be, we're gonna be covering tonight or tonight for me. I'm in Poland right now and it is in the evening. It's about 7:42 in the evening right now. So just after, I think, 1 o'clock or almost 1 o'clock in the States. Um, Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Awesome. You guys can hear me. So we're going to cover, I saw a CNBC thing today from Michael Saylor and talking about Bitcoin forecasting of a $13 million per Bitcoin estimation all the way out till 2045. So that's about 21 years. And I'm looking at that as like, we're in Bitcoin mining. We've set up many Bitcoin farms. We have Bitcoin farms, been in the crypto space for a long time. And I'm looking at just the growth that I've been part of since mining in 2010, since going kind of, making the YouTube channel in 2013. What the early days of mining Doge when it first came out, getting, 5,000 to 500,000 coins per block, like in Doge mining, and looking at, it being worth, a couple bucks at the time, and then seeing like, something like Doge at like 40 cents now, and looking at Bitcoin at the time being less than $100. When I first started mining, it was like not even a dollar. It was probably 85 cents to $2, somewhere around there. I remember my birthday, November 15th, 2011, it was around $2.34. That's what Bitcoin's price was then. Um, and just thinking of like, what if this experiment um, really works, and what if the scarcity and the deflationary inflation rate with it decreasing every 4 years, like what's the Milton Friedman kind of economics point of view from a future state of what that could mean with having 7 billion people on the planet and it integrating in a financial system in some capacity, right? It's going to be a component to the financial system. It's not the entire financial system, but it's a component. And thinking of these numbers of its value increasing. And it got me thinking of like, okay, so for folks that are just now really hearing out, you know, uh, Bitcoin now, they're interested because that's just what happens in bull markets. A lot more people start paying attention. A lot more people start just consuming lots of research and trying to understand the, annual rates of return, like an AAR, initial rates of return if you're doing investments in the beginning, and trying to understand on how to participate in this ecosystem. And, our channel, our content has really been an enabler or tried to enable, as many as people that would watch our content on to become a participant in this space in Bitcoin mining and crypto mining in general. Just proof of work, right? The foundation of the security layer that makes this network, this decentralized network, this ability to get lost on the internet one night and find this code and run a node and then go, wow, I can participate and be part of this security layer too. And for that effort, I am compensated in a token, and that token one day may be worth some money for my time and for my cost of effort of supporting this network. And I didn't have to ask for permission. I just ran this code and ran it on hardware I decided to choose and spend money on. And, that non gimmicky experience of like, wow, I'm actually doing this, right? And then looking at the evolution of where we're at now to where, a lot of vertical integration on a business aspect, so large businesses getting in it, small businesses, small shops, still mining in your house, maybe heating your house with a current Bitcoin miner, and then seeing, that little bit of Satoshis you earn every day, and taking that concept of a little bit of Satoshi every day you're earning on a single machine, and then playing that forward of saying, I'm making an investment in myself, I'm making an investment to be part of this network, and maybe you're subsidizing your power cost by you paying your power cost, and let's say you have a couple miners running, and you're like, you know what, I'll pay the $40-50 a month to run these things. I'm going to hold every Bitcoin I get because it's a scarce resource. And looking at what that means in the long tail, like if you're 30 years old, 25 years old, you're just finding this thing, you're figuring out how to mine, and you're looking at those Satoshis like, what's that look like on $13 million Bitcoin price in, let's say, 21 years? And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through, I have some spreadsheets pre-made, and I'm going to take you guys through some stuff. We're going to look at essentially a linear regression on what it would take to get to $13 million at 2045. And then at your current difficulty right now, we'll take a snapshot of what like a machine will do. And then what I'll do is I also have a model that does a 5-year pro forma. And that 5-year pro forma lays out essentially if you had miners deployed and what's given the growth of the network. I have some assumptions in there that will take and push up the difficulty over a period of time. So if we see expansive growth due to the price of Bitcoin skyrocketing and more people trying to participate, what is like on a complete you know glide path that could be like an even kill where we're at right now. Let's say it gets to 99 and holds that for 5 years, or one that goes up, exponentially, and we go all the way to $13 million in 21 years. What's that network difficulty look like? What's that incremental amount of Bitcoin that you get less and less of because the difficulty goes up higher? And for the folks that are, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that see this content that are not familiar with how mining works. But bottom line, the more participation on the network and there's some pool luck and there's some other nuance to it, but the bottom line is the more people that participate, the less yield you get. But the more people that can participate is usually due, in fact, that the cost of Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin has went up to such a rate that it can include more people to mine. And then there is another variable on like what miners are available and what is what's the rate of production in the ASIC world to be able to create more growth in this network. And as we're fastly approaching a zeta hash level, we're on exahash now. Zeta is going to be here, I think, pretty soon. Are we talking, in 21 years, depending on the fabrication process? We're already at the tip of the spear. We're at 3 nanometer architecture. What's the future lie with the hash rate growth and foundries being able to produce chips and all that. So, anyways, that's a long tale of like the path. Let's get into just the finance today. What to look at from what this looks like. So hopefully you guys are all, I mean, it looks like, I don't know how many are on each channel. We're live streaming right now on X, YouTube, and Twitch. And the total of you guys right now across all those platforms are about 180 people. I'm assuming you all can hear me and see me. We're going to get into this. Just anybody just type in real quick and just let me know that you can hear and see me fine, and we will switch over to these documents and kind of do a quick snapshot. And yeah, let's get into this, my dudes. This should be fun. Before I switch to that real quick, let's make sure, yep, that is So again, to set up the pre-setup of let me scroll down. Yep, you guys are saying yes. Okay, cool. So what's a race to $13 million Bitcoin price look like? Um, let's switch over to this. Pull this guy up here real quick. I'm on my laptop, so bear with me. Here we go. Let's do. Ooh, look at the little. There we go. So if we're at $99,000 right now, and we're trying to get to here, there's going to be a lot of variation in these years, but at some scale, this is kind of what we're looking at. And now, we granted every 4 years with the halvings and stuff, this would probably be pretty flat, huge screen, pretty flat, huge gain, pretty flat, maybe a reduction, and then you just have these cycles that Bitcoin has massive bull market gains, and then you have a new top, and then you may pull back. From Saylor's point of view, you will go down from pulling back 75% or so on Bitcoin price within a 4 year halving scale. You may that may reduce to like 20%, where you'd have a market fluctuation of about 20%, because now you're going to have way more held Bitcoin. You're going to have institutional investing locking up a lot of stuff, so it creates less and less market volatility because of that nature. And really, the influx of coin coming in from the mining community, less and less is produced, because that's just the top tail of Bitcoin as it halves. We're at 3.125 coins right now. The next halving would take us down, you know, to 1.625 Bitcoin. So you're going to have less and less potential Bitcoin in the network. 450 per day right now, total BTC, and volumes are way higher than that, right? So you create less and less volatility as you get to the edge of this. So by 2045, if it's stable and it ends on this, this is kind of just a basic linear regression I have, and then give you guys kind of a more complicated model that we build. This one takes in effect essentially some APIs, pulls in data, and then I run an aggregation on this to forecast price based on some previous tables I have here. Now, this is essentially a base case, an upside, and a downside case for Bitcoin. And anybody that's been following the channel for a while knows that at the beginning of this last year, when we were at $30,000 Bitcoin price, I was projecting the base case this year at 105, and I said that in January. So holy crap, boy dudes, it looks like it's gonna make it. So I called that stuff like a prophet. So it is in the upside case. I had it not going any more than 135,000. Now, this is not me plucking numbers out of thin air. This is me taking a difficulty adjustment versus price increase versus what the difficulty increase does to net hash, or the net hash does to create the difficulty increase, and then what's happened over years of Bitcoin in its bulls and bears cycle. And I'm just taking essentially an aggregate of that and modeling it out. That's what I'm doing here to try to understand, because when you're building Bitcoin mining farms, and you need to understand on how network hash rate works and what it's going to do to your yields, and then what are you paying for power. There's a lot of sunk items that go into this, and detail that goes into this. So um, this one's like a split form where it's hosted, not hosted, but these are essentially the detail that my team builds and tweaks and adjust based on the planning cycles of building out mining farms. So right now I have this where if I did a planned build and it was next month, and I was going to put 240 machines, this is using 120 terahash units. We could go, and I actually need to update this because the table here, but let's say I do S21 Pros, and it's going to adjust what's my potential output in terahash, what's the wattage in total watts based on 3531, total watts per machine, and then it is going to go in here and automatically adjust my pro forma accordingly. There's a few other figures in here, my dudes, where we do miner efficiency and electric uptime because you have an issue where you could run into a situation where you have to curtail a certain amount of time. You got to put that calculation in there, and then that's really your electricity uptime, like because you're going to do some curtailing. I have about a 3% curtailment rate per month on this. And then what's if I deploy 240 machines, how many are actually running? And let's say I'm running at a 99%. There is no such thing as five nines in Bitcoin mining. It's just the nature of the beast. These run are 24/7, 365. There's 3 hash boards per box most of the time, and there are 126 usually chips per hash board. That's a lot of variables that can have things go wrong when you're talking at the top tip of the spear in the tech stack, along with the energies that we're talking about being used per machine around 3,400 watts. It's a lot of amps. You're running at 240 or 277 watts. Things happen, heat happens, cycles happen, and machines go down. So you're always going to have to put in there a miner efficiency. Putting this at 95, 90%, it gives you maybe a better accurate thing here. And then you're trying to calculate what your all-in electrical rate. And then that effectively gives you a couple things. It gives you, based on a price of Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin pulls back a little bit, sits at about 86, that's a $10,000, $12,000 loss from now. And then because you always want to plan not for the current, you kind of plan for what's the 30-day moving average. It's a good thing to kind of figure out because you have some float in there. And then you can see, based on all of that, how much Bitcoin am I going to mine? So in a farm like this, where we have, as an example, and this is all going to play into the $13 million thing here, I promise you. But let's say you have 234 terahash units. You have 240 of them, which would be just over a 20-foot container. You're right at, most 20-foot containers about 210 terahash. So let's bring this down a little bit. Let's say you have one 20-foot container and you have 210 machines. You're right at almost 50 petahash at 741,000 watts there, if you're at about this power rate right here, or each machine being that much power. That gives you essentially almost zero point 0.8 of a Bitcoin currently, and right now you'll see it start to decrease over time because what we're doing is we're forecasting the hash rate growth of the network in a semi-aggressive amount, right? So like literally over by mid 2025, you're almost at a half a Bitcoin. By December, you've effectively halved your yield rate in that much time because we're going to see an almost 50% increase to the Bitcoin hash rate. So I'm forecasting in that kind of case where we end up in November of 25, let's say December of 25. I would predict in this model right now that if we ended up at $147,000 Bitcoin price in 2025, the network difficulty is probably going to be double or close to it. I think that brings a lot of force projection on the network, and that gets you in that much hash rate, about 0.47 Bitcoin. Now, in this type of model, if I'm running 97% uptime on there, miner efficiency, it gives me a blended average. I set this to 90, I'll go back to 99. That's a blended average of about 96% uptime. Now that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good for most sites. 96% here, and I'm using about 710,000 watts of power for a container like that. What I'm trying to do is give you a scenario, and then we're going to apply the Bitcoin that's gained and put it into this model. So if I look at what's remaining, let's say I have a cost to convert. There's some other cost here. This is essentially your it's not technically gross profit. This is net profit with only power cost, right? So you're going to have some other cost here. So let's say it's maybe another 10 grand or something, flat cost. But bottom line, what we're trying to get to is what your HODL rate would be, right? So if you were to able to subsidize all this power cost, let's say you're got some capital and you're going to pay for your power cost, then you would have this as your HODL, right? So you're talking 0.97 Bitcoin in that first month. So let's just sum these up real quick and look what our total is. Sum, and let's say you did that. Let's just take this all the way out. You're losing money by here if you made no change. So let's say you made it all the way till June of 2027. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say you're going to go and then you're going to turn the thing off, right? Equals sum. We're going to go all the way to where you're not profitable on those machines based on this forecast, okay? And there's two different difficulty things here. There's a hash rate formula and a difficulty formula to calculate how much Bitcoin. And if I went to somewhere like this, where it's like the nice hash calculator, and it's going in and calculating this, each online calculator for Bitcoin mining is going to they could be calculating it based on the hash rate, which is an estimated amount. You're just seeing how fast blocks are solved, and seeing based on the current network difficulty, which stays true for 1024 blocks. What is the hash rate um, every day kind of be based on how fast you're either plus or minus, a 10-minute block solve. So it's the numbers can change every day because you're calculating how fast the Bitcoin chain is either going above or below that 10-minute cycle. The difficulty formula is essentially a fixed over about a 2-week period. So like you're pretty linear on that. Most of these will probably do a difficulty calculation, so we can kind of see, what theirs is. And what I'm showing here is let's just call it 49 point, what was it? Let's do this. What are we looking at hash rate wise? We're looking at 49.14. So I'm just checking their calculator versus ours. So 0.14 petahash, and I'm saying 4 cent energy rate. Let's see how close our stuff is, and that's about 20 here, about 3,500 watts. All right, let's calculate it. So that is showing, it's doing it in profit 0.3 of a Bitcoin, 1 week, 1 month. So it's at 2.97. So my calculator here is dead on, my dudes. So you can see right here, they are doing a difficulty formula. So that's what that is. So they're and here's the secret sauce, my dude. Right, there it is, right there. That's the formula. And then that's the other formula. So that's how you get there in Excel to calculate hash rate difficulty. So we're 1-to-1 on the online calculators, at least in the month of December. And then this assumption table is giving me my difficulty and my difficulty and hash rate calculations out all the way out. So this December here is where this is at. So we're at that difficulty network hash rate about 770 exahash, and I would be predicting that we will hit 1 zeta hash in and around May of 2025 at current growth rate. So we'll see. I mean, Bitcoin rising the way it is, I mean, it could go faster, but that really comes down to machines being available. There's a lot of other factors here, but like, again, you got to have a forecast somewhere. So this gets us to some numbers to calculate a pro forma over a period of time. This one goes all the way out to 2028. And this is showing that we'd be losing money because the yields would drop so much on that hardware that it wouldn't even make it 5 years. I'd be getting you can see a halving right here, where this halving happens in 28. It halves again, and then bam. Now, that is because my calculation on Bitcoin price on here is based on this assumption, which means that we would be pulling back in that 4th year back to $125,000. So you can see me going 105, 165. Oh, we're full bear. Let's go right before halving. And then everybody sells the news, and let's say it pulls back almost 50% from $229,000 right after the next halving, and then it swings back over to 285, and we're punching all-time highs in that 5th year from right now. So that is where I'm trying to give you guys an understanding of how this model works and why it's relevant when I'm going to give you a number of a Bitcoin price in Satoshis when we look at Saylor's prediction of 100, in 2024 or 2045 rather, at $13 million. What is, let's just call this the Bitcoin yield. And then let's say value. Okay. So in just this month, my dudes, 0.97. Okay. And then let's just go times this. So if you mine the whole month of December and you had a box full of S21 Pros and you had roughly 96% of them running, you're going to make $96,000 in 1 month. You're going to make almost a full Bitcoin with that much, with about 50 petahash right now. And you know, this isn't the video to cover all of the, you know, how much would it cost to do that. You guys can hit us up, bitsbetrippin.io. This is what we do. We consult, we build, we do project management, we do all the things to get you up and running in a Bitcoin mine, large and small. So this is now just giving you guys a kind of basis of like where are we at for like the next few years based on this. So that was just the year 2024 because it's only 1 month. So now I'm going to calculate what we would earn over that next year based on this model, based on that 120 megawatt, or sorry, that 0.7 of a megawatt farm, roughly 40 petahash, 49 petahash. So let's do a summation of what, where am I at? Here we go. So we're going to calculate. Just right here, we'll do it in here, sum, and that's going to be this month through December. Oops, not control. Hold equals sum here through December. So that's 7.98 Bitcoin. And again, I'm calculating for difficulty adjustment. 7.98. And this is like $700,000 Bitcoin. So again, this is a linear regression of what Michael Saylor was targeting, you know, $13 million Bitcoin price by 2045. So what would that look like? Oh my God, I got to shift it over, my dudes. 5.6 million. I'm going to tell you right now, a single 20-foot container with S21s. S21 is about $4,500 per box. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it because now I'm curious myself. Let's say they're 4,800 bucks shipped times 210. So you're looking at just in raw cost right now about $1 million in miners. And then let's just say cradle to grave, a single container, which I would always do multiple containers because the cost investment to get a site set up is you really about 1.5 meg is the bottom price that you'd want to you know, plan for if you're doing like a full container needing a transformer and all that kind of stuff. So you're looking at about, let's call it $650,000 on that cost, 650,000. So you know, about 1.6 million for a setup like that. Okay, you would be so far over your investment if this was the regression. If Bitcoin by the end of 25 ends at $700,000 Bitcoin price based on this $13 million regression, you'd be like, you would ROI in a few months here, my dudes. Like now, this is not like, don't go right out and start to try to do this because nobody knows. Nobody knows. But if there is a prediction here, and we do have $700,000 Bitcoin price on 2025 on 50 petahash with a pretty decent aggressive growth pattern on Bitcoin hash rate, which again, we're going to go back here and look at what I was forecasting for that much hash rate on a base case. We would be looking at Bitcoin hash rate at, I mean, I have this growing pretty aggressively here. So 1.5 zeta hash. And mind you guys, we're here. And you can see this is from December of 23. We went from 570 to 770. Okay, so about 200 exahash. So I am saying that we are more than doubling the entire Bitcoin network. What's the probability of that? I mean, there's some nice machines, the 230s, the Auradine machines coming out. Maybe we see some 330 terahash units, but we're already at the tip of the spear. So like even if fabrication could spin up faster and more chips could be made, I mean, I'm putting this at a pretty high clip. I'm telling you that we're completely doubling it by that time in hash rate. And that thereby why you're seeing on 2025 December the Bitcoin yields being halved in your farm in that kind of case, right? So again, I'm trying to give a real world example here of the way we plan and build farms in this particular one. Let me just do a check to make sure you guys are still here. You guys are seeing this here. Okay, let's go back. Cool. So again, this is a very highly improbable thing, but we're going with how does Saylor get to $13 million, and we're just playing the game forward. So let's see what this would look like in the next year cycle here, where we will go from December. All right, so January 26th, playing this forward out through December of 26. Copy all that. No, actually, no, let's do it this way. Just do some. Let's just start it right here and take it to right here. And we're at a 3.72 Bitcoin on that next year for this farm. 3.72 Bitcoin. Again, some, or not some. Let's just take this one and just copy it down. So we're making a little less, even though the Bitcoin price is almost double because our yields have been reduced quite a bit there. So again, 3.72 times, this figure here, which would be in the end of 26, and that would be $1.3 million Bitcoin price at the end of 2026. So I know there's some people saying, hey, we could hit Bitcoin price at the end of 25. This would be at the end, so December of 26. So that means we have to come all the way through 26. And let's say we're at $1.3 million Bitcoin price at the end of 26, and you were able to make 3.72 Bitcoin. You're looking at $49 million. Or sorry, $4.9 million there. Cumulative totals, because why not? So far on a 3-year, or almost 2 years and 1 month. And let's say you did not sell any of it, which you probably would not do that, is actually, so this times this price. Let's say you held all of it. We're playing a whole. So look at that difference, my dudes. So 16 million there versus this is if you held all. You're at 16 million. If you sold each year, you'd be at the sum. You'd be at this sum. So right there. So if you sold at the end of each year, whatever you had mined, at whatever that final price was at the end of the end of the month, you'd be at 10.37 million. If you held it all, you're at 16 million, given this scenario. And again, like this is a great crazy what if, and I'm just playing this on the pro forma out as if we would just go through the pro forma until we're the mine would operate until it's no longer profitable. And we're going to play that out. And then we were going to see towards at the very end what it's all worth. Not that if you kept mining. But let's do this now. So at the end of 27, sum, which would be all of 26 through the end of 27. 3.94, because in that year I have a high growth of Bitcoin, or no, so I have that's a year that I have it difficulty adjusting pretty flat through the year, because we punch all the way up to almost 190 and we start pulling back down. So 3.94, we make a little more that year. And that's kind of the way, in 2021 happened, especially with the transfer of Bitcoin moving over. It Our Bitcoin machines moving over from the United States, you had this weird set of circumstances where difficulty came way down because you can have some events. So when I built this assumptions table, it takes in those variables from 21. So it does create kind of in that year three of a 4-year cycle, a little variance that can give a situation where you're kind of flat for a year. On growth, you'll have some months that you're making more and some months that you're making less, and over the year, it just kind of flatlines it. Um, but what's our total? We need to pull that over. Let's go over, no, owned 3.94. Let's go back into this one here. 4. And we're going to do this and this. 7 million, 2028. I think this model goes to about that, right? The end of 28. Yeah, until we're not making money. So we run out of money to operate a few months into this. So let's say you get to here and you're like, okay, I'm no longer making money. Because we run into, this is the pullback. So this is the year that I pull back. So I go from making like 200,000 to where I'm making back down to 130 in this year as an example. And this is kind of a real reality. So we make 0.98 for the rest of that until we would shut this farm off. So in this scenario, this one little use case, 0.98, if I played that forward, this would be the totals that I make. Okay, let me delete these ones for now. So let's re-update this all. If I held all of it in this farm, I'd earn 17 Bitcoin. If I sold yearly, at the end of each year, I'd make 20. There'd be about $3 million difference there, selling between the two. And obviously there's cost here. Like you would probably less than half all of this. So let's just say you only held a third of it, or not even a third. Let's say you were only able to hold 15%, equal the 15% hold rate of everything you mine times 15%. Okay. So then, based on Saylor's thing, times that price, you would have made, so you'd have paid all your cost, right? And let's say you had debt that you were paying down to pay off that original $1.6 million on the thing, and you were only able to keep 15% for yourself. Your actual value of held coins to that point would be worth $3.1 million. You double your investment, even with the 15% hodl, if Bitcoin by the end of 28 was at $2.5 million Bitcoin price. And again, this is Michael Saylor saying $13 million Bitcoin by 2045. So let's say you're like, you know what? That 15% I'm holding forever. Forever, ever? Forever, ever. So now you're at a total, let's just do the sum of this total here. You're looking at 2.6 Bitcoin total held on the 15% over those 4 years. And let's just see what the value of 2.6 is. 2.6385. Every Satoshi counts there, my dudes. Equals this times this. And let's just hold this price, or that amount of Bitcoin, HODL, for this long. $34 million it'd be worth by 2045 on 2.63 Bitcoin. Now, here's a little fun one too for you. And this, let me actually jump over. Let's take some questions first, and then I'll jump back to um, this. What are you guys thinking? What I'm going to do before I wrap up this one tonight is I want to look at like what one machine will do. I was giving you guys like a box of machines. That's 210 machines, S19 pros as an example of what those things would yield and what's it look like from a Bitcoin pricing, or how much money would you earn on a 15% hodl as an example. Um, what I want to see from now, we're going to take a little journey on what like a couple miners would do, like a couple basic miners. Same kind of scenario, but we're going to see what its yield would be, and then we're just going to play that yield forward a little bit, and then we're going to see what that would do. Um, are you guys liking this kind of content? Hopefully, you guys like this content. When I'm on the laptop again, I'm out of town. I'm in Poland. I'm flying back tomorrow, but I wanted to do this live stream to kind of go through some of these numbers tonight with you, because I'm really going through the numbers right now that we're in a super bull market right now, and just seeing, like this reminds me of the ancient times, like when we were doing Bitcoin mining back in 2011 and Dogecoin mining and all these different proof of work networks, and like when they're first launched, fair market launch stuff, Ravencoin, same way, right? Like you're getting yield and you're calculating out a whole strategy on it, and you got to pay your ins, you got to pay your equipment off, you got to pay if you use credit card, there's debt of cash, there's debt to borrow, like what's all the math come out to. um so what's this look like if you really are going to truly hold it? And again, like people are like, well, why wouldn't you just buy the coin? I mean, that's going to be always a question. It's like, why wouldn't you just buy it, put it in Coinbase, take your coins off, not your keys, not your coins? You could do that. You could absolutely do that. But part of this is some people want to participate in the network. They want to hedge it over time. There's um, some cost deductions you can do, some depreciation stuff you can do. So it just depends on everybody's situation. If you have some capital and you deploy it, mining machines depreciate. Um, you can, not just buy. When do you time the market? Where this is kind of a gift that keeps on giving. You give it power, it gives you coin, and those satoshis really play out. Um, do three S21s at 215 terahash. You're paying the electric and holding. There you go, Broke Martyr. Thanks for giving me that scenario. We'll do that scenario real quick. That's a perfect three S21s running at 215 terahash. I'm going to put that probably around 3,300, 3,400 watts, and we'll do you know uh, this concept, right? Let's play this forward, my dudes. So I'm just going to quickly use the base calculator because we went and checked the calculations here and it matched up with my difficulty formula. So let's bring this down to terahash. Let's bring this over to 215 times 3 would be 645. So 645 terahash. Let's just leave this at about 3,400 watts. Let's assume you're paying the power, so it doesn't really matter. I'll leave it at 44 cents because all we're caring about is the yield, not what the US daily calculation is. So the yield is about 36,000 satoshis per day on 645 terahash. So you're earning essentially $36 per day if you're paying 4 cents. If you're paying, let's say, 10 cents, let's go back over here, 10, 0, calculate. I mean, you're still making some pretty good money. I mean, it knocked it down some, but you're still making about $31 if you're paying 10 cents on 645. Oh, it would be more than this. It would be 8, 9. That's why the math's off. 9, let's just call this 10,200 watts, my dudes. That's more like it. Okay, 15 bucks a day. because you're gonna have three machines running at about 3,400 watts there. So that is that right there shows you that I've been a miner for a long time, so I knew that that number was wrong. So we're looking at 15,000. This is the income per day. What we're looking at is the pre-taxed. So we're looking at not profit, we're looking at just straight income. So the income on this, let's do it at a per month. We're going to do a few figures here. That first month, I'm going to call this the Genesis month. For if you were a new miner and you did it this month, what would that look like? Let's get rid of this. Let's call this Gen month. That's the calculation for that, just 1 month. I want to see if like you did 1 month with that much. What's that value? What's this? Oh, it's not. This times $13 million. That's $5,200. So isn't that is that the monthly or is that the daily? That's the daily, my dudes. The daily. The daily. The daily net income, or gross income of three S21 machines. The daily. Let's divide that by 3 to look at one machine. By 3. One S21 at $13 million Bitcoin price. Right now, currently today, if you mined 1 day and kept all of the coin, the 40,000 Satoshi is $1,700 a day. $1,700 a day. And here's the funny part. Let's go from here to here and paste this. Oh, no, it won't let me do that. 1 second, my dudes. 1 second, my dudes. Here times here. And we're going to lock G2 in this scenario. Let me do it manually, my dudes. Dollar sign there, a little dollar sign here. We're doing that because we're going to go like this. And there you go. That's essentially what those 40,000 Satoshis, 1 day of mining, what its value is equivalent to 1 day on this price schedule. That's its value gain per day, per friggin' day. All right. Anyways, I'm getting lost in the sauce here. Let's go back and look at 3 times S21. And let's do this. Now this would be per month. So if we go back to this figure, let's look at the monthly. On that first month. Oh, this one. This is yield. Like that. So that's just the 19,000. So that's essentially 1274 a month. Is that what it's showing right here? Yeah, close. Pretty close, my dudes. It depends on what it's calculating Bitcoin at right now, right there. So $1,200 a month right now is what is being generated by 3 S21s right now, which is fantastic, my dudes. That's like a really good rate. But you know, we're at $100,000 Bitcoin, so that are pretty close to $100,000 Bitcoin. So to do the yearlies here, it's a little more complicated because what I'm going to have to, well, not too bad. Let's just go here. let's do this. Let's do I have plain S21? S21. I tell you what, we'll just do this. We'll type it in. We'll overwrite this. It's all good. We're going to type in 215, 2400, not 2400, 3400. And we're going to put this at 3 for this scenario for like a home miner just with 3 machines. And that's 645 at 10,200 watts. And then here we go, my dudes. This is probably going to be all the way through 99%. Let's just say it, because let's say somebody turns off your miner one day on accident, one time a month, and essentially all these should be still here because we left them locked. This is why models are important, my dudes. And yes, bitsbetrippin.io, you guys can hit us up. We do sell a version of this model. I can customize it. You can hit us up. We can get a custom version for you. So shameless plug up, my dudes. All right, let's go here. And let's put in our numbers. Nope, 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 nope. 0.11. Here, I need all the Satoshi fidelity here. Hold on, my dudes. We need Satoshi fidelity here. So copy that. And I'm going to paste that as values here. Yeah, you can see the Satoshi fidelity here. It's going to be a little rolling because we don't go that far on decibels. So I do need to lock that because it's gonna sum up some, but it's close enough, my dudes. That is not a $sign. That is general. Paste this. Okay. Now we can do this. So in that first year, my dude, if we end the year on $700,000 Bitcoin price, you're looking at $76,000, my dude. I think that more than pays for your S21s and all your electricity. Let's look at the next month here. Again, the model is the shoot. Started doing all the math for us. We're going to copy this. We're going to go back into here. We're going to paste the special values. Boom. We're going to take this. We're going to do a little swipey here. Here we go. We're going to do this. Copy, paste. 66,000 that next year. We're going to come over here. Grab it again. It's going to be pretty close to that next year because it was a pretty flat year projected. Again, we have to values it. We're going to do this, paste. Then last one, 28. I really hope this isn't boring you guys. Yeah, because that's when we run. Now, see, I had this going out. You will actually run out of money at the same time, or you'd run out paying your power equivalent there. And that, I'm actually going to do this a little further out for you, actually thinking about it. Let's go ahead and calculate this all the way out in my pro forma, my dude. So what we're going to do is change this range to the whole year because you're paying your power, so you don't care about not mining and paying or what you're going to earn there. So that's that one, and then we're going to do for 28. as I go all the way to 28 here. Some here. All right, and you guys will see what I'm doing here. So this, paste it here, back, paste it as values, my dudes, and then here to get the Satoshi value of those 3 machines. And then the last one I'm going to put here, which is going to be here. And we're going to go here, values, here. Copy these things down. So cumulatively, my dude, if you ran all the way till the beginning of 29, or sorry, through 29, you're going to be some you're going to earn a quarter Bitcoin. And again, that has calculations of growth of network and stuff. So that's just your reduction of yield. And this is actually going to be at the end of, or at the beginning of 2030, you're going to be this times, this is again on Micro Saylor's forecast, you'd have $2.5 million, my dude, on 3 S21s. And if you held that until 2045, you would have this times 13. I'm off a row, but it doesn't matter. $3.3 million, my dude. So we played the scenario out. 3 S21s, you're paying for the power. Linear regression of Michael Saylor's schedule to get to $13 million Bitcoin price. How much Bitcoin would you earn if you had 3 S21s with a pretty aggressive growth schedule on the difficulty? You'd earn about 0.25 of a Bitcoin with 3 machines. That's what I'm forecasting. You by the end of on this. I don't know why I'm jumping here, right here, because it should be 25 to 26, 27, 28. Yeah, so the end of 28, you'd be at that. So that's the scenario, my dude. It's insane. But that's the world I've lived in since mining from 2010. Like these numbers that I see now at $100,000 Bitcoin, my dudes, like in 2010 there was no way. Like in my mind there was no way. Like that'd be $1 trillion Bitcoin market cap. There's no way. We're here, my dudes. We're here. So Saylor saying $13 million in 2045. I mean, I don't see why it's not possible. So like if you're trying to set up a scenario where you're mining right now and you're subsidizing paying the power and you're just holding it in a wallet. I mean, you could buy it on the exchange too, my dudes. This is a forecast of what if and how much yield is worth what. And yeah, I hope you guys like this one, man. This was fun, kind of doing the numbers and the calculations. Again, bitsbetrippin.io is how you can find us. We build farms. We built mini farms. Um, this is the stuff I like to do. Help you guys with this on these live streams. Hopefully, this live stream was good for you guys. You guys like it. I'll take some questions over the next few minutes, and then we'll wrap this one up. Hope you guys. Hopefully, it was good and it was clear and concise. I'm showing 426 viewers. That's across all 3 platforms that we're we're streaming, so that's cool. Thanks guys for stopping in on us on this Friday night as I wrap up my trip here in Poland. Thoughts on mining Sia coin? I haven't seen Sia coin since it went A6. I don't even know if are they still making A6 for Sia? I haven't seen any information on Sia. We stopped mining Sia when they went full ASIC. Um, but it used to be merged mined, or not merged mined, it used to be mined when we were mining other coins because you could mine, or SIA, I think it's SIA, it's not, I keep saying SIA, SIA coin. I haven't mined it since the BBT multi-miner for anybody that's been tracking that one for a minute. Sorry for no light here too. This hotel room is, I got like this kind of can light here that's, if I turn it, it's like I'm glowing. And I'm still wearing the pullover and stuff because it was cold as hell walking through uh, Poland this evening. What about block rewards negligible? What about block rewards are negligible? When the block rewards becomes negligible, I mean it's all relative. I mean if you're talking $2 million Bitcoin price, I mean that block reward's still going to be worth quite a bit of money. The thing that is not calculated as much in here, and I keep it as a pretty linear flat, and this is one kind of like alpha move for Bitcoin miners, is the fact of this network block reward plus fee. So I have a flat zero point 0.1 to keep it just pretty even. Like this sometimes is 4.4, 0.10, yeah, sorry, zero point 0.4, 0.8, sometimes one whole Bitcoin extra, and you'll have like a 4.25 Bitcoin block reward. So it does give you more. You'll have times that you make more yield if more things are put in the Bitcoin blockchain, and it creates a fee war on where you get into the situation where you could have way more on the fees than you do on, which is good for a miner. Or, you get more yield if there's more fees on the Bitcoin network. Um, or does the fee structure kind of go away because a lot of people will be trading on like Lightning and stuff? I mean, there is a big economic discussion around that, but mining and cost of mining is very disassociated with Bitcoin price. Bitcoin price is going to do what Bitcoin's price is going to do, with or without the support of uh, subsidizing things for miners. Like Bitcoin has just wrecked people on the mining piece when it was going back down to like 50s after having this year. A lot of miners had to turn off because it's just, $60,000 Bitcoin price pre-halving was gold. It was like it was just raining. But then it halved, and that meant that for you to have that same kind of yield structure, you need the difficulty at the same rate, and you needed $120,000 Bitcoin. We're now at $100,000 Bitcoin almost, and difficulties went from 550 exahash to 780, almost 800 exahash. So I think we'll see a that kind of scenario play out. Does RVM have a long-term future? I think RVM does. I mean, I'm a long-term holder of RVN, a believer in the network and the proof of work chain. I do have GPUs on that network. I think we're going to see in this next year if it gets any kind of traction from its features that it added to a UTXO blockchain, which is Bitcoin. Um, and so the baseline of being Bitcoin, and then them adding the asset and real world asset architecture at a UTXO layer one. It's meaning that the complexity is far less than something like an Ethereum where you have like ERC20, ERC720 um, situation, and you have risk on bridging and all that with Ethereum, and then Ethereum being proof of stake and being co-opted by pretty much all of the world clouds. I think Ethereum, people have been like, why is Ethereum not moving that much? I think people are, they've heard a lot of things of what Ethereum is going to do and bring, and what's happened is Ethereum is in a very interesting situation where part of its value proposition was the fact that it was proof of work mined. It was not a fair market launch. They had pre-mine. You have that whole thing to deal with, but like the when they got rid of mining, they indirectly alienated an entire ecosystem of people that were participating and talking about it, and infrastructure being built around it to support it, and lots of home miners, individuals being part of the ecosystem, lots of daily trades just on the mining aspect, people spending things. And you take that entire group of an ecosystem that was doing a lot of, like, I wouldn't call it free marketing, was baked in. And then you've taken that and gotten rid of it because most people just go, if you're going to be a proof of stake person and you're just going to spin up an Azure node, or use Rocket Pool or somebody, and then you set it and forget it and you just don't think about it because now it's just this subroutine that's running on a world cloud, and people are like, well, why would I use Ethereum with all of its high cost on transactions and this scarcity model, because they were trying to co-opt some of Bitcoin's reduction in supply by doing the burn. And then you had EIP 1559 that tried to bring some goodness, but added that burn function. And it was just like when you're trying to change the rules of the game in the middle of the game, people take their stuff and go home. And I think that's what's happened with a lot of people on Ethereum, and they're just tired of it, and it just isn't growing like they think it is. And it's sad because I mean I went to ETH.com. I seen part of that excitement early in the ecosystem, and it just, I think alienating the proof of work really hurt them. And honestly, people are just going to use Solana. It's way easier and faster. And yeah, it goes down. Yeah, it has problems with meme coins and everything. They've lost. Ethereum lost its track and it has like an identity issue. And I mean, people are just going to use Solana. And it's still an inflationary asset. I mean, it has to have a lot of use to make it deflationary. Like it has to have use and people spending a lot of transaction gas to get it to where it would start to burn the emission rate. So emission rate really came down than what it was on proof of work, but it's just I think they kind of hurt themselves quite a bit. Now, is that going to stop it from going up to $4,000 or $5,000? Who knows? I honestly, I just don't track it that much. I look at projects that are still proof of work that you can still participate in, decentralized in nature, fair market launch. Those are the ones that are doing well. All right, my dudes. Well, hopefully this was a good one. I'm gonna wrap this one up. Back on BBT East this next week. Hopefully, guys. We right now I'm still planning to have a live stream on Friday next week. We'll put out a notice of what that content's going to be. And again, yeah, bitsbetrippin.io. We have some merch out there. Make sure you guys check that out. We have some Christmas merch. So if you want some shirts and stuff, some Bitcoin and stuff for Christmas, we have some stuff out there. So I'll catch you guys.